Don't need a four-heater, but you come 4 feet approach me. I'm summoning focus of Gogeta. Slight work, so imagine me chilling when folks meet up, cause my...
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. We gotta talk about SmackDown, September 30th, 2022. We're gonna do news and notes first. So basically 2 notes. One is Seth Rollins' interview with Ariel Helwani. The second will be Liv Morgan talking about the split fan reaction that she gets. This ought to be very interesting. Which, you know, I guess it happened a couple of times, but it's worth discussing. So let's talk about the Ariel Helwani, Seth Rollins thing first. So the interview is about almost 40 minutes. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but we're going to go through bits and pieces of it. For instance, the early part of the interview is probably the most interesting part, because this is when Seth Rollins was talking about the chip that exists on his shoulder. Basically, that he never felt like he was the guy in WWE. It said that maybe sometimes he would think that maybe I'm not good enough. And what he means by that is he never got to main event WrestleMania. He doesn't see himself as being positioned as being the top guy. He's always been second fiddle to Roman. And for him, he said that he had a bit of an imposter syndrome when he was the champion the first time. He felt like he was just there, a placeholder until Roman was ready. And he actually talked about, not being able to have too much input into the stories when he was champion the first time. He's basically just a vessel, a guy holding the belt or whatever. He said that he basically held the belt until Roman was ready. This is very interesting stuff. Later on, of course, he said that maybe it's just him being in the Roman era, but he's essentially saying the best he can do is become the Edge to his Cena, the Savage to his Hogan. And that's how I've always seen Seth Rollins. I've always seen him as the guy who could go babyface or heel. And Roman was always sort of the superstar. And of course, even if Roman had not done the last 2 years as a heel, he still would have been the top babyface. And, regardless, there was nobody who was really going to challenge him for a top babyface spot. So it was always going to be this thing with Seth Rollins. So it's an interesting thing. Later in the interview, though, by the way, he talks about his reputation and how he feels like his feud with Cody helped his reputation, because he had a reputation for being sort of careless with people's bodies from his injuries, from the injuries he caused people like John Cena when he broke his nose with his knee, or, injuring Sting or injuring Finn Balor. And he said, not re-injuring Cody kind of rebuilt his reputation in the eyes of some, because Cody wrestled that entire Hell in a Cell match with one arm and didn't get hurt again in a different way, because there wasn't any more he could do to the pec, but he didn't get hurt in any other type of way too. And I think this is where you probably should examine these two things side by side, where you have to understand that maybe it was that reputation that kept him from being pushed as a top guy. Is that, that stuff matters. Later he talks about wins and losses not mattering that much. And I agree with that. We'll get into that in a moment. But where he basically says that he always felt like he played second fiddle to Roman. I mean, obviously that's true. Clearly WWE has these guys that they never really break through. They're sort of the guys who work with the guy, the best dance partner, the best opponent for the top guy. And they never really, crack and break through. And it happens. Randy Orton was probably that guy too for a long time with John Cena, where, Randy Orton was never going to get pushed over Cena. It just wasn't going to happen, So, and I think Randy Orton's probably a better example than Edge. I think Edge is a pretty good example, but I think Randy Orton's a better one because Randy Orton's more of a peer of John Cena, as far as they debuted within 2 or 3 years of each other. And their run at the top was neck and neck. And remember, Randy Orton actually got there first. Just like, Seth Rollins kind of got to the title first. But it was clear that they weren't ready. And I think that's kind of what Seth Rollins was saying is that when they gave him the belt, he was only like 27 or something like that. He wasn't really ready yet. And Roman wasn't ready either, but he had already been positioned as being the main event of WrestleMania. He had already been booked in that spot. So I get it, I definitely get it. And I don't disagree with it either. I feel like it's an important thing to, be a role player. The thing is, wrestling isn't a team sport, but it kind of is. Just like, wins and losses don't matter, but they kind of do. It's like everybody wants to be the star quarterback, but not everybody can be. So sometimes you might have to switch your position. You might have to be the star wide receiver. This was a big thing in the NFL for a while, where you had athletic quarterbacks. They wouldn't have NFL level strength in their arms, or they would be a run first quarterback. And then the NFL would say, okay, you're going to play running back, or you're going to play wide receiver or something like that, as a way to get you into the league. They used to do this a lot. They used to claim they did it only to black quarterbacks, even though that wasn't entirely true. But it was just a way of, hey, this is how you see yourself, this is the position that you always played. That's fine and dandy, but this is what we need you to do. This is where we can find you being most valuable. And I've always said before, I've said it a couple of times on this channel, that Seth Rollins is a racehorse. He's a guy who, he knows his role, and he knows, what he is asked of him, and what is best to do what's best for business in order to take the little thing from the authority. So it's nice to know that he still has something to strive for, and being the advertised main event of WrestleMania. Yeah, that still is something that he could strive to do. And it would be great. I think that's part of Sasha Banks' problem. It's like Sasha Banks did everything that there is possible for her to do. So now if she doesn't have any, if she doesn't have any desire to come back, which I don't know if she does or doesn't, you got to look into it. What is she coming back for? That would be the question. She main evented WrestleMania. So she's been champion a bunch of times. What would she be coming back for? And when wrestlers do start to transition out of WWE, that becomes the question. What would you be making a comeback for? Is there something that you would like to say? Is it, you returning from a big injury like Edge or something like that? It's one thing to understand people who didn't get there and think that they still got a chance to get there. Understand. That's a question what I got with Roman. Like when Roman is done with this Tribal Chief storyline, and whether he defeats The Rock or whatever, has a match of any kind with The Rock, how do you incentivize him to ever come back? He's done everything. He's made the money. He's won the titles. He's been in the big matches. He main evented WrestleMania. What do you entice him with to come back? It would just have to be money at that point. That would be it. And more Saudi money. That would be pretty much it. Because once you achieved everything, there really is nothing that they can dangle over you to bring you back into the fold. Now, yeah, a guy like Kurt Angle, he made the money. He's been the main event of WrestleMania too, but he didn't get to end his career the way he wanted to. So you start seeing, little things here and there about maybe Kurt Angle wants to have one more match, end his career on his terms with the right opponent and all that kind of stuff. But that would be it. So Seth Rollins is a fairly young guy. I think he's still in his mid-30s now, unless he might even be still in his early 30s. He's still got something to strive for, and that's a good thing, because now the job won't get boring. It won't get boring because it won't be, I did everything that there is to do. Now he's got to put the puzzle pieces together to really get to that point, the point that he's been trying to get to this entire time. That opportunity will be there eventually, because Roman is not going to be there forever. I can see Roman being gone within the next 2 or 3 years. This storyline can't last forever. So it's an interesting angle. And plus, WWE likes to pair up their Hollywood presented top guy with a fairly spectacular in-ring performer. I think the Hogan and Savage thing was perfect, because Savage was the guy who could work with all of WWE's Hollywood produced top guys like Hogan and Warrior, who they weren't the greatest wrestlers in the world. They were mostly body guys and with decent to great promos. Matter of fact, there's no such thing as a bad Ultimate Warrior promo. They are all awesome. And Warrior could work with Savage, and Savage could bring out the best in him. And Savage could bring out the best in Hogan. And Seth Rollins can do that too. He could bring out the best in Roman Reigns. He could bring out the best in other people. And that guy has incredibly high value. But, you know, it's nice to see that Seth Rollins doesn't have that CM Punk syndrome where, you know, Punk got burned out, you know, because he had gotten a long title run, but it wasn't ever looking like he was going to main event WrestleMania. And he imploded, you know. That's just kind of what CM Punk does. But now we see Seth Rollins have the same problem, you know. He even reached back and said that even in Ring of Honor, he didn't feel like he was the top guy. He felt like he was behind other people. So, you know, it's something that motivates him. And I would hate for him to actually achieve that and then say, well, I did what I planned to do. Now it's time to go. He talked about, of course, wins and losses not mattering. I think I've talked about that on this channel before. Wins and losses can't really matter because if wins and losses matter, nobody would agree to fucking lose. You know, somebody's got to be able to do business. He talked somewhat about Vince McMahon's retirement and, you know, how much he loved him and he was a father figure to him, but he hasn't really talked to him since the whole thing ended. So since Vince left, he hasn't talked to him, but, you know, that was it. But the most interesting part of the Seth Rollins interview was the first, 10 to 15 minutes of it. I suggest if you got 40 minutes to blow, maybe you're in the gym or, you know, you're going out for a walk, it might be not too bad to go through. All right. Now, Liv Morgan did an interview with Metro UK where she talked about the polarizing fan reaction. So she says, I understand the reaction in a weird way, so I didn't take it personally. The funny thing is, in wrestling and WWE, all you want is a reaction. So even though it maybe wasn't the desired reaction, it's still polarizing. As long as we're getting a reaction, and I'm okay. And I'm still the champion, so I'm more than okay. And she talked about John Cena being the best of the best, considered the ultimate babyface, went through years and years of let's go Cena, Cena sucks. So if that's how I'm treated, I'll be okay with that. Now, a lot of lame brains have taken this that Liv Morgan is comparing herself to John Cena, which is not what she's doing. That is not what she's doing. What she's saying is, if I end up getting that polarizing reaction, that's okay. All I care about is that I get a reaction. That is all she's saying. Only people on the internet care so much about whether baby faces are booed or cheered or anything like that. If the company is behind you, they don't really care. They just want to see that you move merchandise and that people have a reaction. Now, despite all of the boos for John Cena or Roman Reigns, they were routinely top merchandise sellers. Despite the fact that everybody supposedly hated The Fiend, it's a huge merchandise seller. And Vince is going to listen to the cash register more often than listen to the fucking audience. Because the loud and vocal part of the audience are not... I don't want to say Twitter isn't real and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of cliche at this point. But what is real is the money. If you're being booed and you're not making money, nobody's buying your merchandise, then objectively what you're doing is not working. It doesn't matter if the entire arena is lighting themselves on fire for you. You can melt the crowd. You can get that big Road Warrior pop that everybody talks about. If you're not moving tickets, you're not selling merchandise, nobody gives a shit. You're just a pop. Who cares? But if you're moving merchandise, people can claim that they hate it all they want. Alexa Bliss, everybody claims that they hate it all. I hate all the magical shit. All the Lily doll stuff. Everybody talked about it every week, how it was the worst thing. It was awful. And she would go on Twitter and say, Lily dolls are sold out. You know, clearly there are people buying it. And as long as people are buying it, there's going to be people who are, they're going to ignore it. They're going to ignore the fans. They're going to ignore the boos because there's people buying this stuff. Now, I don't know if Liv Morgan sells merchandise or not. I have no fucking idea. But, for the sake of argument, she better, because if she's getting a mixed reaction, which she really doesn't get a mixed reaction that much anymore. There's kind of a couple of times. It seems to be a little bit more solid now. if she wasn't selling merchandise, then I would be concerned. You know, that is the thing that I will be thinking about. Is your top talent selling merchandise? Is, you know, are people asking for them to be in commercials and that kind of stuff? That's the stuff that I would be thinking about, not so much fan reaction, because, you know, fan reaction is different. You know, people buy tickets to see everybody. You know, they don't just come to see one person. So them cheering and booing for one person doesn't really matter that much. If they buy the t-shirt, they buy the action figures, stuff like that, then it's different. All right, let's get into this show, which was mid as hell. Like, I know that SmackDown, it started out fine, but then in the middle of the show, I got bored. Like, I just stopped caring, because it was clear that WWE didn't give a shit. But, you know, also it was a hurricane, so they had some talent that was stuck in Florida. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse like some companies. SmackDown wasn't a good show. They had access to more of their talent. They could have used them better. All right. Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa defeat Ricochet and Madcap Moss. There was an interview that Paul Heyman did that I thought was pretty funny, where he said that Jey Uso was not a hater. He just offers a contrarian opinion on Sami Zayn. So Ricochet and Madcap Moss, they're basically just no-name baby faces to get beat up in this match, which is exactly what happens. Of course, the lights flickered during this match, which gave people all amped up about Bray Wyatt and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. So after they win the match, Sami Zayn talked about Solo Sikoa, how impressed he was with them. They go to the Bloodline locker room where they knock on the door, and Jey Uso opens it. And Jey Uso comes out, and him and Solo dap up. You know, they hug each other. And then Jey asks Sami, what is he doing here? You know, then said that he might have his entire family brainwashed, but he sees through Sami Zayn, and he puts the family in danger. He gonna get him. He gonna get him. So Sami Zayn it's cut. This one cut to the bone. He said that you need to take it up with Roman. And I'm trying to get into our locker room. And he squeezed by Jey to go into the locker room. Great shit. This is awesome. Later, Sami Zayn ran into Kevin Owens in the hallway, which is very interesting. Kevin Owens was doing, I guess I have to tell this whole story. So Austin Theory is backstage. He says that he learned his lesson because people have ruined his cash in. And but the only person that has embarrassed himself in Wales more than he did when he got knocked out by Tyson Fury was Drew McIntyre. Then he says that he got all of the tools, but he has a low ring IQ because he didn't see Solo Sikoa coming. And now he's gotten himself into a fight with Karrion Kross, and then McIntyre appeared behind him, challenged him to a match. All right. Second match on the show was Austin Theory versus Drew McIntyre, which ended in disqualification because Drew McIntyre was jumped by the Alpha Academy. So during the 3-on-1 beating, Johnny Gargano and Kevin Owens came out there to make the save. So then, of course, it makes, perfect sense that we would get a 6-man tag main event featuring all of these same people. And I absolutely rolled my eyes and almost fell to the floor because who the fuck really wants to watch this shit? Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens had a little bit of a thing backstage where they agreed that Austin Theory needs to take another loss because, he hasn't taken enough losses since Triple H took over. Then Kevin Owens kind of walks away and he's messing with Maximum Male Models, which we'll talk about in a moment. And then he runs into Sami Zayn, who seems to be sort of sitting outside, looking dejected. He's outside like Charlie Brown for no reason. He's just sitting there. And they stare each other down. Then Kevin Owens says to Sami Zayn that he needs a new shirt. And I guess that was meant to get a chuckle out of everybody. It got a little bit of a chuckle out of me, but not much. Not much of one, let's say. So, Kevin Owens, Johnny Gargano, and Drew McIntyre defeat Austin Theory And Alpha Academy, of course they do, because Austin Theory would have to win in some other way. There was a lot of outside the ring chaos, a lot of outside the ring stuff. I didn't care about this match at all. I really didn't give a shit. I knew what was going to happen when they did it. You know, they put Austin Theory teaming up with the Alpha Academy, for Christ's sake. Like Alpha Academy ever fucking win anything. They did a monster rating last week. That shit gonna come plummeting down to earth this week, I expect. Because they slapdashed a main event. I mean, you knew what you were going to do. You should have built a main event. Build the fucking show, please. And then don't build a fucking squash main event where Austin Theory never fucking wins and Alpha Academy never fucking wins. So, who cares about this match? Anyway, Karrion Kross, he cut a promo. He said that he wanted Drew McIntyre to lure him out of the darkness because McIntyre is the kind of guy you have to send to the hospital, and that he's going to do that. He said that they want the same thing, but WWE isn't the kind of place where you can just come in and get a title shot. So he says that now they are bound through suffering. He's going to show McIntyre what he has learned in the cards and will drag him into the deepest parts of hell and leave him there to burn forever. I was like, oh boy, that's some deep, that's some bad juju right there. Well, they're finally doing something with Scarlett's tarot cards, which is very interesting. It took them forever to finally start mentioning those things. I like the promo, generally speaking. I like that they sort of explained why McIntyre isn't going at, well, McIntyre, why Cross isn't going after Roman. But, you know, WWE isn't the kind of place where you can just jump the line. Even though it kind of is. You know, like it kind of is. But you do have to get your hands dirty a little bit first. So basically he's going to use Drew McIntyre as a stepping stone to being the world champion, which is, you know, the core argument of this piece, which is very good. And I don't mind it. I'm a big fan of Karrion Kross. I like the guy. You know, I like how they're keeping him special too. They're not overdoing it. He's not wrestling in a bunch of nonsense, no matches for no reason. He's been very on point. He's been very focused in his dislike of Drew McIntyre. So it's been very nice. So but I think it was after the promo, there was a QR code where Three Little Pigs, the cartoon series, was played a little bit. Then we got some Butchered Pigs. Then the Big Bad Wolf, and then a sort of nightmare costume version of the Big Bad Wolf. Very interesting. This was in the QR code. So now, of course, everybody knows for sure that it's Bray Wyatt now because the code was 1911, which was what was on Bray Wyatt's Mad Hatter hat. Also, the Funhouse Pigs, or the Three Little Pigs, of course. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf. I mean, do we really need to go through that? Even though there is a really great version of that on Jules TV, where there's a rap version of the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf. But they showed, the interesting thing is that the pigs were slaughtered in the video package that WWE showed. So clearly Huskus is more than likely going to be dead or killed or something. But when I thought it was just a picture, I looked at it and I said, well, you know, it was a piggy playing a flute. And I instantly thought, okay, Pied Piper. And you get to Pied Piper, which was, you know, the guy who leads people. I think I forget what the old mythology of the Pied Piper, but I think he lured snakes out of Ireland or something like that. And it became over the years that he lured away children about playing the flute or whatever, some kind of magical instrument. And he would play through town and all the children or whatever would follow him. And that would be sort of a nod to Bray Wyatt's feud with John Cena, where he had all of those children outside the ring, like the children's orchestra or whatever, and they were singing, he had the whole world in his hands. So there's multiple meanings here, and so it was pretty cool. But I mean, since we know it's Bray Wyatt, how many more of these things can we possibly go through? But it's nice little Easter eggs because people are constantly digging through the Bray Wyatt history, trying to find out all of these little tidbits. So it's been fun for these people. It's been every week. People have been trying to find new ways to have fun with this. So I will support that. Later, there was also a sign that says "Revel in who you are" or "Revel in what you are." It popped up about 8:53 as Michael Cole was chatting with Corey Graves, and "Revel in what you are" was something that Bray Wyatt had said on Twitter, I think, and somebody had dug it up. I think maybe it was Rob Schamberger that actually retweeted it because he had drawn a portrait of Bray Wyatt, and Bray Wyatt's response was "Revel in what you are." It was the exact same quote. So yeah, it's Bray Wyatt. It's not even a question. I mean, everybody kind of knew that 2 weeks ago. So it's all about building anticipation now, and they're getting very closer to it. So hopefully he pops up at Extreme Rules, because I don't know how much more of this QR code stuff I can take. It's just the entire timeline is coming across like goddamn conspiracy theorists. It's like that scene in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, or one of those crime dramas where people are just drawing lines from picture to picture, and it's like I don't know about that. All right, let's get back to the show. What else we got here? Maximum Male Models, they did a thing. They said that they plan to make Max proud when they bring home the championship. And Max was very excited because he thought they had gotten themselves a match against the Usos. But no, their plan was to break the Canadian record for longest pose. And Max was pretty much perturbed by this. They strike the pose, and it was immediately screwed over by Hit Row, who came out there and made fun of them. So they broke the pose, and then they had to repose after Hit Row left. Hit Row then went on to defeat Los Lotharios. Top Dollar did his spot where he carried both of the Los Lotharios again. Really unfortunate that Los Lotharios is in this position. It sucks. Gotta admit, it sucks. It sucks ass. Then we got various people making fun of Maximum Male Models. Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens did it too. There's a bunch of people making fun of him. Then Maxine says that they were on the verge of breaking the record. They were approximately 5 or 6 seconds away from breaking the record when Max himself knocked over Maximum Male Models. Then said that they can 86 this because they should be focused on winning real championships, not fake ones. And he's not sure this is for him anymore, and thinks that it never was. So he, I think, takes off, I think his belt or his glasses or something like that, and threw them. And so I'm guessing this is the official, he's leaving Maximum Male Models, which is, the right thing to do. Why it took him so long to do this, I don't know. Okay, you want to tell the story, I get it. But why not tell it in a more appropriate way? I think during this entire time, they probably lost one match because they've only wrestled one match. So it's like, I get that you will be frustrated by all of, but he started it. So it's like, this stuff doesn't make any sense because it was Max Dupree who brought them to WWE. And maybe, look, and this is what I mean by fan service. There's a way to break this up without it coming across as we're just doing it because everybody wants this guy to just be LA Knight. Which is, sure, that's superior to Max Dupree. But let's get out of the Max Dupree thing either by A, immediately cutting bait and pretending he was never there, which is, a Vince McMahon move, is just pretending it never happened. Or B, tell a proper story of getting out of this situation. Now, a proper story would be Max Dupree had very high hopes for these guys, which is kind of the direction they were going in. But they never did anything. So it was just maximum male models are a disappointment. Okay, show me their disappointment. They got beat up by Braun Strowman. Okay, well, he would have gotten beat up by Braun Strowman too, so it's not that big of a deal. They lost a tag team match to Hit Row. All right, I can see why you'd be disappointed in that. The whole thing with Max Dupree would be because he says that he wanted to bring in talent that could main event WrestleMania and Paris Fashion Week or something like that. All right, so maybe he sees that these guys are a dud. They're not. It's not working, you know. And he wants to try different things or whatever, and it's still not working. But now they're putting all the heat on these guys, like they're just, you know, inept idiots who are more focused on their posing and all this kind of stuff, which is all stuff that Max created. Max created the fall line and all this shit, you know, this back to school stuff. So, and you put together the group. So it's like you turned on the group for doing exactly what you wanted them to do. That didn't make any fucking sense, you know? But again, we're just in the mode of, we got to get this guy out of this group. How do we do it? Doesn't matter. He's upset with them. He's going to leave. All right, but there was better ways to do it, you know? But does anybody really care? No, because Maximum Male Models isn't going anywhere, and everybody knew that. But to be quite honest, I don't think LA Knight is going anywhere either, you know? But he might do better off, you know? He could stand there and take chops from Gunther, I guess. You know? Yeah, that's always a better usage of your time, if we're being honest. All's well and good, you know. I guess I'll forget about this in a couple of weeks because LA Knight will be back, and he's going to cut probably one or two promos and be over, and everything's going to work out wonderful. But again, this abbreviated storytelling, this microwave storytelling is basically just fan service. And speaking of fan service, of course, Shotzi got her tank back. She cut a promo earlier in the night by saying that Bayley and Damage Control are schemers, and she's not going to sit on the sideline. She's going to stick her nose in her boots wherever she wants, which is honestly not bad. It's not a bad promo. Bayley later says that Shotzi wouldn't be running her mouth like this if Io and Dakota was there, but they're not. And she's going to show her why she was the only one to defeat Bianca Belair after 300 days or whatever. So they had the match, fourth match on the show, Bayley versus Shotzi. Shotzi's tank is back, shoots pyro, everything is great, right? Except for she loses fucking clean. So good luck with your tank and everything, right? You fat bit of fucking good, you did it. You know, you won the tank, yay! Everybody got their tank back. Oh, she lost immediately. No different than what she was doing before. Exactly the same position Vince put her in before, where she's a jobbing ass babyface, tank and all. So there it is. Nothing changed. Thumbs up. Nothing changed. This was the best Shotzi match in a long time. But I will say this: Shotzi's drop kick, not good. It's super low. Like, her drop kick is very, very low. She should probably just abandon ship on drop kicks. If you've seen this match, then you know what I'm talking about. That, you know, abdominal low thigh drop kick, it's not good. If you can't get up to the chest or chin, just drop kick the shins or whatever, drop kick the knee or whatever. You know, you got to think about your athleticism here, young lady. Her drop kick is not good. It's actually one of the weaker part of her game. But Shotzi looked good here. You know, she didn't look too bad, but she lost clean. Then Bayley, you know, dropped her on her face again, and then went out to get a ladder and was going to do bad things to her. Bianca Belair made the save because there's no difference between Raw and SmackDown. Then Bayley jumped Bianca Belair from behind because Bayley bailed when Bianca came out there. And when Bianca was trying to help Shotzi, Bayley jumped her from behind. Bianca was then about to get crushed on the ladder, but countered it into a KOD position where Bayley grabbed the top rope and pulled herself away. So we got a little bit of heat on this feud. This is a tough road they got here because Bayley has been hamstrung quite a bit front with this damage control thing. And, you know, Triple H is never going to let it go. He's not going to let his girls fail. But damage control has done a lot. How ironic how they've done most of the damage. They did a hell of a lot of damage to Bayley's career at this point. Feel bad for him. Not really, but kind of do. Kind of feel bad for him. All right, so Ronda Rousey, she was there. She called Liv Morgan one more time. She called her Hooters Barbie, and says that no matter how extreme Liv Morgan thinks she is, she can always beat her up, and that she's the most dangerous unarmed woman on the planet. And said, so what if I had a baseball bat? Now, in this promo, I saw this from Twitter because I was not paying attention. I'm also not Canadian. Ronda Rousey was wearing a shirt that said "Every Child Matters," which was apparently a shirt that is made for an Indigenous holiday in Canada called National Truth and Reconciliation Day. This is somehow tied into the dead Indigenous children found in unmarked graves in Canada. I've seen people talk about this. I don't know enough about it to speak intelligently. From what my understanding is that there are people who believe that the government-run schools in Canada was just going around wholesale slaughtering children of Indigenous people and burying them in unmarked graves in Canada. While there are other people who believe that this is just basically a burial ground that the Indigenous people had that a school was built on top of. And I don't know which one it is. Of course, I've never heard of massacres by government officials within schools. You know, like I've never heard of that before. Like if it was just like it's entirely possible. I mean, the government can do any kind of fucked up thing to people, you know, so I don't know. But I'm not Canadian, so I don't know that much about this. All I can say is I can't say anything negative about somebody who wants to support, you know, dead children. It's like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. It's kind of fucked up that they were, you know, they had unmarked graves. You know, it was kind of screwed up. At the same time, though, if those children were dead before the schools were built, how is that the government's fault? You know, and plus if the graves are unmarked, how the hell would they know? So there is no way of knowing. Again, I don't know that much about it, but Ronda Rousey was wearing a shirt, and some people were very excited about this because they love when liberal politics is referenced in wrestling. Other people just say, oh, well, Ronda Rousey believes Sandy Hook was a false flag. And I was just kind of like, you know what? Not going to get involved in any of that stuff. You know, I don't know that much about Truth and Reconciliation Day. I do know that Canada has jumped off a cliff and it's basically put itself in a noose where every time you turn around, you take 2 steps, you have to recognize that you're standing on First Nations burial grounds or First Nations lands or whatever the fuck. It's the dumbest shit I ever heard, and it's dumb as fuck every time I see somebody do it. Well, we like to represent that we're standing on the lands that were first cultivated by the Seminole and the Patahonawa and the it's like, come on, get this pretentious bullshit out of here. They're dead. Who cares? You know, it's over. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody doing that shit unless you know, that's something horrible happened here. You know, like if it really was a massacre or something like that, and you're having a meeting or some kind of speech at that place, it might be important to sit and have that conversation. But they're doing it in every fucking building, at every fucking meeting that two Canadians meet in the street all of a sudden. I would like to stop and recognize, for starters, I use she, her pronouns, and that we are like, come on, get the fuck out of here with this. It's stupid. But I don't know enough about Indigenous children and mass burial grounds to know what the truth of all of this stuff is. Anyway, Ronda Rousey had a really boring and bad match with Natalya because, of course, it's Natalya. Natalya was out there trying to grapple and clearly didn't know what the fuck she was doing. I think we've reached our limit of Natalya. Like, how old is this broad really going to get before we finally cut bait with her? She's got to be 40 or something like that already. You know, she's been doing this since 2012. You know, she's a dinosaur in this division at this point. You know, I think it's time to start moving on. You know, we got to move. It's time to start moving some of these older talent to manager positions, you know, mentor positions. Like, why can't we have Natalya be a mentor for somebody? You know, if we want to keep trying to use Aaliyah, which I'm not sure we do, but Aaliyah's Canadian, have Natalya be her mentor or something like that, you know, or whatever the case may be. It's time to get Natalya out the fucking ring, man. It's just, she's not interesting, and Natalya hasn't been interesting in a long, long time. And now that we know for certain that TJ Wilson is not going to knock her up because she doesn't want to be knocked up, then it's time to go to more extreme measures. It's time to chain that bitch to the radiator, like in that movie Black Snake Moan. That's what it's time to do. It's time to handcuff Natalya to the radiator. I don't care where the radiator is placed. You can throw it in the fucking ocean if you want to. But it's time to chain Natalya to a radiator. Or just cancel all of her flights. Oh, babe, you missed your flight. You're not going to be on SmackDown this week. Oh, you're not going to be on Raw either. Sorry. You know, it's time to, you know, it's time to call in the clowns with the big hook cane and pull fucking Natalya off the stage. You know, enough's enough. You know, there's so many women out there. Like, I just saw that Sonya Deville just turned 29. Sonya Deville's not even 30. And like, why are we not using her more? And we're wasting fucking time on Natalya. Enough's enough. Enough's enough. Haven't we done enough for this particular sect of the Hart family? TJ Wilson's going to have a job forever because, you know, he broke his neck in WWE, so he's going to have a job pretty much forever. But Natalya, there's no more Total Divas for her to do. It's time to go bye-bye. I'm not saying she needs to be fired. Okay, I'm just saying we need to redirect her energy somewhere else. Right? We need to, I don't know, you know, not tell her where the ring is. Say, oh, your match is up next, and then we lure her out the side of the building and close and lock the door or something like that. We need to do something where Natalya just goes away. Somebody steals the Cadillac converter from under her car, or drains her car of gas so she can't make the show or something like that. It's just extreme measures. It's time for extreme Natalya elimination measures. It's time to go bye-bye. I'm sick of this shit. I'm just done with it. I'm over it. Ronda Rousey wins with not an arm bar, but an ankle lock. Afterwards, Liv Morgan came out seductively dragging this bat. It's a bedazzled bat too. I'm just kind of like, huh? Liv Morgan gets attacked by Ronda Rousey. She then kind of fights back, and she swings the bat at Ronda Rousey, but she swings so wildly that she couldn't have hit Ronda Rousey if Ronda Rousey had still been there. I mean, she went way above Ronda's head, which is, you know, being extra safe. But if you wanted to be extra safe, you probably should have came down and aimed it at her legs. You know, because going way above her head, what if she's, you know, you're shorter than she is? What if you don't go high enough? You could still ding her in the head. So maybe you should have went lower towards the knees and the abdomen area. You still would have missed because she still would have moved, but, you know, next time, just think about that. So they got into a little bit of a fight, a little bit of a brawl. This led to Ronda Rousey, you know, tossing Liv Morgan over the barricade. And then she had the bat. Now, all of a sudden, all the officials are out there begging for her not to do this. They're not grabbing her or anything like that. They're just begging for her not to do it. She puts the bat down and leaves on her own. She is then immediately attacked from behind by Liv Morgan. And they have to continue to do a pull-apart brawl between the two of them. All right. This is fine. You know, Ronda Rousey doesn't believe in Liv Morgan's toughness. Doesn't think Liv Morgan is extreme enough. Doesn't think she's got the chops. That she has the constitution, the testicular fortitude, or the ovarian fortitude to fight her in an Extreme Rules match. So Liv Morgan is out there trying to prove herself. I like it. I like the story. You know, it's very good. It's very good. Fight scene was okay. But this fight scene was better. Imperium is out there. Now, they kind of have like a rotating promo, one of those old joints, where they talked about how the brawling brutes don't exemplify what it means to be champions. Gunther is what a champion looks like. And that to represent this great sport. Gunther then says he's going to break Sheamus' spirit again. And then the following night, they're going to crush. I forgot that Extreme Rules was on Saturday. But they're going to crush them the next night at Extreme Rules as well. Sheamus comes out there, says that Ridge and Butch are stuck in Florida because of the hurricane. But the king of bangers, look at me, little hatch. Look at me, little jacket. Look at me, banger. And he comes out there, banger after banger after banger. Sheamus is hilarious. Anyway, he talked about coming out there being ready to fight. And he gets attacked, of course, immediately by Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci. But he has his trusty shillelagh and ended up wiping the floor with both of them. So Gunther is in the ring by himself. And Sheamus enters the ring with the shillelagh. Gunther wants to fight him, but wants him to put the shillelagh down. So Sheamus does. Gunther and Sheamus get into a bit of a fight, with Sheamus dropping the stick. Then Sheamus had him kind of beat up. He's about to hit him with a brogue kick when Imperium recovered and attacked him. It was a 301 beating. They chopped his chest, just brutally booted him in the face, powerbombed him and everything, just beat the hell out of Sheamus. And then they walked away. They wiped their feet and walked away. Oh, Sheamus got the microphone. That's all you got, man. You're going to do better than that. You got to do better than that. And then they came back and they decided to whoop his ass more. They stomped him some more. And then Gunther bashed his fucking head in with the shillelagh and left him laying, which was great. I love this. This ruled. I love this feud, not just because I'm a fan of Sheamus and Gunther, but because it speaks to Imperium's character work. Their whole, the mat is sacred. This is a wrestling ring. You know, the brawling brutes are brutes. They're sluggers. They're fighters. Well, at least Sheamus and Ridge are. Butch is basically a grappler. He doesn't really kind of fit this. But this is fun. I like this. This is fun. So this was a fun little angle we got here. Now, I know that Gallus has been, quote, suspended indefinitely from NXT. I'm guessing, are they going to get brought up next to sort of be the next sort of set of bruisers? Maybe to either join Sheamus or to fight Imperium. Because, Gallus is essentially the Brawling Brutes, just with a better name, better theme song, and all three of them are bruisers. You're not going to get too many headlocks or any, joint manipulation out of any of the Coffee Brothers or Wolfgang. So I don't know. Also, this is week 4 of no Baron Corbin. Since he got into that limo with JBL, he has not been seen or heard from since. This is also, week 5, maybe 6, maybe, of Legado del Fantasma not showing up on SmackDown, which is what I expected. Very disappointed about all of that. Don't introduce things if you're not going to continue them. I don't know. We could at least have, conversations or vignettes or somebody mentioning that Corbin hasn't been there. Maybe set Corbin up for a match and then he doesn't show up. And then say, well, Baron Corbin is supposed to have been here 2 weeks ago and he hasn't shown back up. We don't know what the hell's going on with that guy or something, Don't just leave us in limbo or just, he disappears and then nothing. We do nothing. If we're waiting for him to change his look or something like that, okay, but we still have to keep him in the public eye, I would think. You don't want people to forget about him completely, do you? I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. But I definitely think that, Gallus would have been a good time to bring them in, especially if you don't have, well, maybe. Are they living in Florida now? I'm guessing they are, at least for a little while. So maybe they're stuck in a hurricane too. Probably the same thing for Legado del Fantasma. So maybe they didn't have access to them, but they could have booked a better SmackDown than what they did. I'm not oh yes, I forgot. I didn't forget as much as I didn't look at my notes. There is still to talk about Corey Graves' comments about Antonio Inoki. So Antonio Inoki passed away, and Corey Graves mentioned that Antonio Inoki actually won the WWF World title, as the first ever Japanese world champion, but it was not officially recognized by WWE. And a lot of people have lost their minds over this. And quite a few people want this thing recognized. I can tell you that's probably not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen. But it's a nice little gem that WWE has quite a few of those. And most companies do. They have some of those unofficial title changes that happen in front of local audiences. And they figured nobody would care because, who was in what was this, late 1970s or something like that? Nobody really cared. There were some wrestling historians, but there weren't people feverishly searching this kind of stuff out like it is now. For WWE to recognize this, you have to break Bob Backlund's uninterrupted title run. You will also have to somehow explain how he got it back. I don't know. I don't think it'll actually happen though. But Ted DiBiase also wants his title reign recognized. He's still alive. I think that one is actually more likely to be recognized in the future, because who the fuck came up with the rule when you can't buy the championship? Where did that rule come from? That ain't no rule I ever heard. Sure, you can buy the championship if you want to. All right. I was about to wrap up SmackDown, but I just got a very interesting bit of news that a jury has decided that on the case of Randy Orton's tattoos. I was not paying a lot of attention to this, but I did see how ridiculous it was over time. And this does put a lot of people in bad situations in the future when it comes to recreations of wrestlers and their tattoos in future games and maybe even future media. Like, you're talking about artwork that is on somebody's body and the recreation of said artwork that is on somebody's body. So if you copyrighted the artwork that you put onto somebody's arm or leg or chest, and then they turn around and sell action figures with said design on it, or video games with said design on it, then you are, they're recreating your work, essentially, right? So you're entitled to damages. That's what the tattoo artist was arguing. So let's read this article real quick. I'm going to try to do this really fast. So it says, a jury ruled in favor of a tattoo artist over WWE and those behind the WWE 2K video game series, finding that the defendants infringed on her copyrights when her tattoos were used for Randy Orton's model in the video game. PW Insider reported Friday that the jury, based in the United States District Court Southern District of Illinois, had found that the defendants failed to prove that the tattoos were fair use, and Catherine Alexander, the plaintiff, was right in going for damages. Two other rulings by the jury determined that Alexander was entitled to just $3,750 for the usage of her designs in the game. In other words, 9 times out of 10, she lost money filing this lawsuit. So they said, okay, you own the copyright to these tattoos. WWE illegally infringed upon your copyright by replicating your tattoos. And thus, the crazy thing is, they also do this on action figures. They also do this on video games. So can she just refile another lawsuit in terms of video games? Can she file another lawsuit in terms of trading cards and all this kind of stuff? You gotta, Got to ask that kind of question here. But just $3,750. Yeah, buddy, she's probably lost money on this. It says the defendants in the trial included WWE, publisher of the 2K series, Take-Two Interactive Software, 2K Games Incorporated, 2K Sports Incorporated, and developers Visual Concept Entertainment, Ukes, and Ukes LA. Judge Stacey M. Yandel ruled on September 26 that WWE and Take-Two had copied 5 of Alexander's tattoos that she held valid trademarks on. Alexander was denied a summary judgment, and instead a jury decided the amount of the damages. Alexander originally filed the suit in 2018, saying that she had performed the tattoo work on Orton between 2003 and 2008. She had previously contacted WWE about the material featuring her work, saying that WWE offered her $450 fee for the rights. According to the suit, she rejected that offer and, quote, told WWE that plaintiff did not grant any permission to WWE to copy, duplicate, or otherwise use or reproduce any of plaintiff's designs. So she was being a dickhead. I mean, she drew on somebody's body her own copyrighted work, which, no doubt he probably chose from a book of, tattoos. But this is going to change a lot because this is a learning thing for WWE. Now that they see that tattoo artists are probably going to go out here and start copywriting their work and then trying to sue them later, who knows what the fuck they might start doing. And this is a problem. They might start blurring tattoos on wrestlers. They might start, releasing action figures that don't have the tattoos on them. That kind of stuff. It might end up increasing the rights fees on tattoos. They might actually start, telling guys to not get tattoos, which is a thing WWE already does. They already try to prevent people from getting tattoos. This is now she was punished. They were like, okay, you were right, but you get less than $4,000, which I'm pretty sure you've been fighting this lawsuit for 5 years. You've probably spent 10 times that much on this lawsuit. So she was punished for her stupidity and her greed, to be quite honest. She could have just took the $450 and walked away. I mean, this is on a guy's body, but she thought she had the bag, and who knows, maybe one day somebody will get smart or get a better attorney, or somebody will try to build upon this case and start saying, what about Goldberg's tattoo? It could be my, copyright design, and you're recreating it with your Saudi Arabia shows or your video games and all that kind of stuff. It's just something to think about. I don't think it'll get that serious. I don't think it matters that much, but it's something to consider because I don't think they even considered this would happen. They probably just offered the lady some money for her to go away, and then she decided to sue them over it. And then she fucking won. Now, she didn't win shit, but she fucking won. Which means that in the future, this opens up the door for other people to do the same thing. Now, because the judgment fucked her in the end, it's a monkey's paw. In other words, she won, but at a greater cost to herself. Somebody might actually win some more money. We don't know. This was just the first case of this. I never heard anything like this before in my life, that you could copyright things on somebody else's body. So it's very weird, but very interesting story. Very interesting story. What do you guys think? Like, share, subscribe. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.
Skin tone, so why attach yourself and piggyback the wealth you didn't earn or lack yourself? I'm telling you to own up to your own success and failures. It's